Welcome to Scrapland. I'm Regina. I'm so thrilled you're joining me on this journey with the Scrap Journal. I discovered that I had several sketches that I drew up to use with this because you can't just adapt a 12 by 12 to fit this size dimension. But these sketches were made from the ground up, and so I'm so glad that you're going to come along with me as we make some layouts and we'll have the sketches. Meanwhile, I'm going to read a few excerpts from my travel journal. We disembarked from the ship and then took the shuttle the cruise provided to the airport. Then we went to Avis and got a rental car to our hotel. While waiting for our room, we went to Walmart and Costco. After checking in, we both fell asleep. Then we did some laundry. We ended up with clothes strewn all over the room. Welcome back for our next scrap journal layout. The sketch for today will have a border around it. It shows one piece of patterned paper with two mats on the page. Because of the design of the layout, I'm going to use this pattern paper on the top and this pattern paper on the bottom. I'm going to cut each paper at 6 1/4 wide and 4 3/4 in length. So I'm going to cut our two pieces of paper, and I'm going to want them both to be 6 1/4 inch wide. And that will make the upper band. Oh, I cut it all the way to the top. I want to cut it at 6 1/4. 6 1/4, not 6 3/4. That gives me that. And this will be cut also at 4 3/4. I'm cutting the 4 3/4 first because I actually want to preserve as much of my 12-inch side of the paper as possible. So I'll cut that side first. 4 3/4. And then 6 1/4. And this is so the next thing our sketch shows is a band across the middle. And we could use any punch, we can use a sticker, anything that we like. We have our 4-inch by 3-inch cards on the layout like the sketch shows. And next we're going to build a border to go across the center. I've chosen the square chain border maker cartridge, and I've chosen some scrap paper, but I'm not sure if this scrap paper is going to make this chain, so we're going to run a test. So we're going to see if the paper will fit. We're going to just look inside to see, will the cartridge be able right there is the closest spot, but we don't need the full 12 inches, so we might be able to make this work. Let's see. This time, we are really cutting it close. I'm going to begin at the second notch, not the first notch, to kind of help the paper from becoming jammed inside of the punch. I think this will be usable. And I think we got the most out of this piece of paper. It looks like we can get a nice border right here, but we have to say this square right here is a bit misshapen. So we're going to give it a bit of a trim. And there, that's a handsome border. Now let's talk about embellishments. So our sketch calls for an embellishment here and an embellishment there. So here I'm going to use one of my favorites, the ribbon punch. It will do 1 inch, 2 inches, and 2.5 inches. And I have this scrap that is 1 inch wide. So I use the ribbon punch. This is a 1 inch wide strip to punch a strip right here. And then I'm going to use the bevel tag punch. Now this piece is 1 1/2 inches wide, so it's slightly larger. So I'm going to look and feed it in from the back side and get it as close to center as I can and punch. And now I have this handsome tag to put on my layout like this. And at this point, we're ready to put it in our journal. We went sightseeing and had a very good time. We rode a train through the fields where a variety of items were grown, including pineapple, bananas, cocoa, and coffee trees. We walked through a garden of beautiful and regional plants and flowers. Then we went through a maze where we found 8 markers. We were in the gardens about 5 hours, and it took us about an hour to get through the maze. We had to take a photo of the tiny maze sketch that they gave us. Old eyes, I guess. Now we're ready to put our layout in our journal. Remember, we're going to have a white frame around our page this time, as per our sketch. So we want to have about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Having paper this size is helpful when you're having paper that may not be quite wide enough for the 6 3/4. This paper is 6 1/4 inch wide. I'm going to trim this to be 6 1/4 inches, but I'm going to trim off a little bit to give us a 6 3/4. Okay, we can take a little sliver off. Oh, that'll be perfect. We'll set this on here. Try to get it straight. Placing this, I think this is a little tall, so I'm going to cut it down to be, let's see, now it's over 3 inches. I'm going to cut it down to 2 3/4 of an inch. And there, that makes a really nice decoration. I think I may add a little more to this and use up a few more scraps. Why not? I think one of the most fun parts of making this is using up the tiny scraps. And one of my favorite ones is the notched banner border maker cartridge. And nearly any nice piece of paper that will make a banner this size. Let's see, will this fit? I was able to make a banner, not a perfect one, but a good enough banner, because I can put that here and trim off that top. Let's see what else we find. Let's see if we can make one here. I think so, if we trim it off so it will fit. And we got a pretty nice one. This one is also cut off a little bit on the end. We will tuck that right up under here. Don't you love it when you can use those tiny scraps? I frankly think there's not much left but this. The slide reel border punch is one of my favorite punches for making embellishments. I went through some and found a few scraps that will make one single slide reel. So we'll take this piece of paper, slide it in. We only want one reel, and so we just want to make sure that we've captured one reel. It will be attached, but we'll just trim it on off. And here's our second reel. We'll round that up. We're now ready to adhere our embellishments. Make sure that the not so good end of our notched banner here is hidden. We'll put our tag up. And in layering this little cluster, we deliberately chose an odd number of embellishments. So we have 3 items here. If I wanted to build a bigger cluster, I would add 2 more, keeping an odd number of items in the embellishment cluster. Once again, on this cluster, we're going to make sure that we snip off the top of the banner that didn't cut well. And we're actually going to snip off a little bit of this to make it a tiny bit shorter. We're going to put this on with a little bit peeping over the edge, which we'll cut away. We'll layer this over top with a bit of it going over the top of the page. See how it goes over the top. And then our slide reel. Now we'll just cut off these tops. To make it flush with the top. Is it not quite flush? Let's go from the back. And there we have. And here is our layout. If we were adding photos, we could put them right here. For me, it's going to be journaling mats. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more scrap journal layouts. Coming up next, circles. Thank you for watching.